Hello, my presentation today concerns itself with John Fowles' The Ebony Tower, an adaptation of Marie de France's Ellie Duke. In my presentation, I will argue that much like Marie uses the medieval romance and her lays to test and put pressure on the values of nobility of her time, Fowles does the same with his novella, but with the contemporary equivalents of those older medieval values. To begin with, Ebony Tower is Fowles' modernist take on Ellie Duke. It is an intense story, one where the pursuit of love, passion, and sex are heavily endorsed. In it, David Williams, a young art critic, goes to Brittany to interview a world-renowned and famous painter, Henry Breesley. With Breesley lives Diana, with whom David, who is happily and securely married until now, begins a passionate affair. Fowles' novella places a stark and heavy sexual focus on the affair. When David's affair with Diana is not sexually consummated, this is seen as David's ultimate failure. David is clearly the modern Ellie Duke in Fowles' contemporary novella, the married man torn between two women, his faithful wife and his beloved paramour. His faithlessness and loyalty are tested. The main theme of the novella explores this immense tension between marriage and desire, faithfulness and the temptation of an illicit sexual affair. Fowles speaks of the trap of marriage, meaning here contemporary marriage, or the marriage structure of his time, 1970s, in which things often became routine, mundane, boring, a structure upheld because one cannot vision anything else for oneself. Thus, Carol Barnum says of love in the Ebony Tower is a dividing force, caught between two worlds, to remain faithful or to win the quest of love and sex. And in his exploration, according to critique Ruth Morse, Fowles focuses on the wrong thing, desire, as opposed to faithfulness. Fowles is obsessed with desire, and wrongly so, Morse argues. She explains that Marie de France's original lay was more concerned about Ellie Duke's disloyalty as opposed to his desire. She provides her own translation, demonstrating that Marie's language is less volatile than Fowles', more pragmatic, more formal, more contemplative, as Ellie Duke battles loyalty and desire. Moore's translation showcases Ellie Duke's devotion to his duty, his loyalty. In contrast, Fowles turns the entire matter of passion into not a contemplative one, but one with a frightening intensity of feeling, passion, and eroticism. Morse dutifully reminds us, in response to this, that keeping faith was a value which could not be overemphasized in medieval society. Medieval society depended upon its agreement to keep faith. Fowles, who has forgotten this and discarded this historical fact, has thus misunderstood and misadapted Ellie Duke. Morse calls what Fowles has done in Ebony Tower a creative misreading. In defense of this, critic Arnold Davidson argues the following: that both Marie and Fowles are concerned with balancing desire and marriage. And indeed, this is true. In his chapter on sexual freedom in the Aristos, a collection of philosophical aphorisms, Fowles claims that the noblest relationship is marriage. It is a structure that should reinforce and reaffirm both passion and sexual desire. With this in mind, Davidson and me, I'm bound to agree with Davidson, are then arguing that both authors are concerned with finding desire its rightful place, passion in propriety. Fowles' novella is then not a creative misreading or a misadaptation, but a space where he puts intense pressure on the value of faithfulness, just like Marie does in hers. I would remind my viewers that romance is a place to test values. Marie puts pressure on her understanding of medieval faithfulness, and so Fowles puts pressure on his contemporary understanding of it. Marie incites medieval desire, Fowles the contemporary one with its overwhelming and almost burdensome sexuality. Fowles plays with the values of his times in the old medieval form. He revives the medieval romance to do the contemporary work of his time. Thank you for listening.